Good evening, and welcome to Direct Impact Broadcasting, the station of growth and transformation. Affiliate of Creative Broadcasting presents Leadership Tidbits with Coach T. Wilson, with your host, Tawana Wilson, as she welcomes her guest to the studio.
Welcome to Leadership Tidbits with Coach T. Wilson. I am your host, Tawana Wilson. A little bit about myself. I am your award-winning leadership maven, medical laboratory sciences by background, best-selling author, owner and chief leadership coach at Trendy Elite Coaching and Consulting Services, executive director with the John Maxwell team, Maxwell Disc certified consultant, Send Out Cars referral partner, and co-owner of Direct Impact Broadcasting radio station. Before we bring on my special guest, I want to thank my March radio show sponsor, Mr. Martinez Wilson of 2nd Samuel Transport, where they make sure you get all of your Amazon packages delivered on time, located in Cincinnati, Ohio. Also, thank you to my media mentors, Miss Ashley Little and Miss Kimberly McLemore of Talk Radio TV Network, LLP. Today we have my special guest and friend, mentor, and fearless sister, Dr. Christine Handy. In her career span, Dr. Handy has always been in a helping or coaching role. With more than 30 years as a teacher, track coach, and high school principal, while an entrepreneur and author, Dr. Handy's life's mission is to enhance the life of others via education, counseling, and coaching. She loves the Lord and is an active member of the Church of the Redeemer in Clarksburg, Maryland, where she serves as an usher. Christine has enjoyed an amazing 30-year career in the field of education. She started as a special education teacher and has served as a high school principal for the past 19 years. Christine has been recognized as the 2006 State of Maryland Secondary Schools Principal of the Year and was the 2014 recipient of the prestigious Dr. Edward Shirley Award for Excellence in School Leadership. A respected leader in education, she is currently the president of the National Association of Secondary School Principals. She is especially proud that 8 school leaders that she has mentored have been promoted to school principal positions. Dr. Handy is an international speaker and trainer. She has trained school leaders in Beijing, China, and across the USA at Equity Colloquiums, National College Board, Advanced Placement, and National Principals Conferences. She is also a trainer, coach, and speaker with the John Maxwell team, specializing in presentations on leadership matters and leading teams through the leadership game. She loves helping others develop their leadership skills, grow their business, and realize their financial dreams. She also specializes in supporting our youth through presentations and workshops at youth retreats and summits. Dr. Handy is also a proud entrepreneur and author. For the past 6 years, she has been involved with Send Out Cards, a technology-based company that uses a mobile platform to help individuals to create financial freedom. She loves helping others to become wealth warriors. They support businesses with relationship marketing, helping them to increase repeat and referral business by sending greeting cards and gifts in the mail right from their mobile devices, and individuals to be kind and thoughtful, creating mailbox happiness. For Christine, this is a gratitude ministry. A leader, Christine was selected to serve on the Eagle's Nest amongst the top earners with the company, and her current rank is senior manager. She is also a leader with Maluka, an online wellness shopping club, once again on a mission to help others to become wealth warriors by simply switching stores and sharing. Additionally, Christine is an Amazon best-selling author of the book Dear Fear, Volume 2. Co-authoring with 17 others, she shares of a life experience from her early college days entitled it, Dear Fear, You Can't Have My Slingshot. Good evening, Dr. Handy. How are you doing this evening?
I am doing great. Thank you so much for that introduction. Wow. Thank you.
You were one bad lady. So I have to give you your props and read your full bio.
Oh, my goodness. I'm just going to say to God be the glory is all I can say.
So I'm so happy and excited to have you here tonight. And I'm sure the listeners are eager to hear all about your journey. So tell us a little bit about your journey to leadership and how did you get to where you are today?
Well, it definitely has been a journey, a long journey that really started when I was a kid. So one of the things I believe is that when preparation meets an opportunity, doors open. And so my journey includes a lot of preparation, from going to school and having businesses, because I've always had some type of home-based business ever since I was as a young girl. And I read a lot. I definitely believe in personal development. I believe in networking and mentoring and, getting experiences. So, on the job, I've always saw opportunities to serve and to grow, basically. But, when you talk about leadership, I'm the oldest. I'm the oldest of my siblings, the oldest of 5. And so being the firstborn, I had to be a leader just by virtue of birth order. I had a single mom, and so I was the oldest, and so mom depended on me a lot to be in charge. So my brothers and sisters would tell you that I have always been the boss. So I don't know if that's good or bad, depending on which one you ask, And then, but then in schools and in organizations, whenever I've been involved in something, I've always, definitely stepped up to be a leader, whether it was being a chair of a committee or if I was in a club, I would be the president, the vice president. I mean, I definitely would not hesitate to raise my hand to run for office or to be in charge of a committee or something like that, when I was growing up in high school and junior high, I was always in clubs and, I definitely would step up. And then, when I was a teacher, as a teacher, I would definitely, the principal was setting up a committee. I was one of those people who volunteered to be there. And I also, as a high school teacher, I was a high school track and field coach. And talk about that is where I really feel like I learned a lot about leadership and how to develop winners. And I would not trade my high school coaching days for anything because, my track girls always tell me thank you for the seeds that I planted in them. And I always tell them thank you because they developed me. And so, and just taking a team that really was not, when I first inherited the team, we only had a few girls on the track team. And then as I coached them, we grew, and I helped develop them into a championship team, so helping to develop winners. But they taught me a lot about that, and I really had to be a student of the sport and not just learn about the events in track and field because there's so many, but I also had to learn how to get people to believe that they can do it. So that was the first thing I had to do was help my girls to believe that they were winners. And once they had in their mind and once they had a little taste of success, it was on, and we became, district champions. And, I learned a lot from that. And then, as after teaching, I became a school leader. So I became an assistant principal and then a principal. And, I stepped up to that challenge, and because I love challenges, so I'm, you give me a challenge, I'm going to take it on. And so working as a school principal, definitely I had to take on a lot of challenges and face them head on and work with a group of people to make things happen. So I learned so much about, collaborating and working together and having a common vision and how you take that vision and move from here to there and set goals and reach them. And so that has been my journey to leadership, really preparation all along the way, and everything it builds on the next. So, I always, anytime I would ask, if I had some challenges, and I'd wonder, like, Lord, why this? And then I really realized that everything that happened along the way was preparing me for what was next. So you have to embrace the journey. So that really has been my journey to leadership, really just focusing on preparation and being ready for what's next.
Wow, I love that. Preparation and preparing for what's next. And I also loved how you said that you learn how to develop winners. And that's powerful, especially as we're working with our teams, whether it's working with our youth or working with our fellow teachers or working with our colleagues, having a team where we are instilling in them that winner's mindset. So that's
absolutely.
awesome.
So I've always been a teacher, so everything, even as a high school principal in business, no matter what I'm doing, it's teaching. As a coach, I was a teacher. So, teaching and coaching is really just what I love doing. Even as a little girl, I would teach the whole neighborhood. All the kids would come. I would stand on the front porch, and I would have school. So, teaching and coaching is really in my passion.
Also, so as we know, leaders come from all walks of life with vastly different backgrounds, strengths, experience levels. What strengths and qualities do you feel were important for you to thrive as a leader, especially in the world of education?
That is a great question. And so there's so many things that, qualities and characteristics you have to have and develop to be a successful leader. So first is stamina. Because leadership is tough. And so you have to have stamina. It is not for the weak. You have to be able to go the distance. You have to be able to see things through. And so you have to have stamina, which ties right into perseverance. You have to be a person who will not give up easily, that you will set your eyes on a goal, you set goals, you have a vision, and that you're going to stay on the path and persevere to meet those goals, and you have to be driven. I talked about being a coach and a developer, so you have to be a coach. I always consider myself the head coach. And once again, I say I learned so much from being a track and field coach, and coaching those young ladies and developing them into winners. And all along, no matter what you do, even in education, as a teacher, as a high school principal, I consider myself the head coach. And so I am always coaching others to be their best, to do their best, to give their all, whether that is the staff or the students, or whether it's in business. It is important for you to be a coach and develop others. You have to be committed to helping others, because if you help others to realize their goals, dreams, and aspirations, and then that's going to help you to fulfill, your journey, your reason for doing what you do, your why. But you have to be willing to develop others. And I feel strongly about that. I always ask people, what are your goals, dreams, and aspirations? If a student comes to my office, I want to know, what are your goals, dreams, and aspirations? A teacher, if I'm hiring a teacher, I want to know, what are your goals, dreams, and aspirations? I'm hiring an assistant principal, I ask them the same question, because I want to know what your goals, dreams, and aspirations, because my job, I feel strongly that my job is to help them to reach their goals, dreams, and aspirations. You have to believe and be passionate about whatever it is you're doing. You have to know your mission, where you're going. You have to be a visionary. You have to be able to almost be psychic and see into the future and know what's coming. I always tell people that in schools, we're preparing kids for a world that doesn't even exist yet, because we don't even know what the world's going to look like 30 years from now, because 30 years ago, we could not have envisioned all of the things that we have access to today as it relates to technology. So we're preparing kids for a world that we don't even know what it's going to look like. So we have to be visionary and think about the skills that they're going to need and prepare them to realize their goals, dreams, and aspirations. So, I go back to, you have to be a person. When I talk about the perseverance and stamina, you have to be a person who is willing to see it through.
Amen to that. Now, where was you at when I was in school? Where was you at asking about my dreams, goals, and aspirations when I was in school? I just love it. I love that energy because you're right. Leadership is hard, and you have to eat it, live it, breathe it, sleep it. And if you do, it goes to everybody you touch. And I can just feel that, and I'm sure your students feel that, and your teachers feel that as well, that you are definitely in it to win it with them.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So that's awesome. So you do a lot. You do a lot of stuff. You got businesses, and you're an educator, and you do all this awesome, fantastic things. So in a time where we are asked to do more, serve more, give more, be the best, and the list goes on. It does. One's core values can be compromised in the process of trying to elevate their career and position in the workplace. So what advice could you give our listeners who are struggling to balance career and maintain home life harmony, all while maintaining their sense of self as they're doing career and business and, trying to do everything?
Oh, my goodness. So yeah, I know if some of my friends are listening right now, they're probably waiting to see what I'm going to say to this question. So one of the things that, I believe, I don't know who said it, but it says, to thine own self be true. And so, certainly this is probably one of my biggest challenges in maintaining that work-home life balance. So I'm going to be honest right up front and say this is definitely a challenge for me because I am I'm quick to say I work from can to can't. Mm-hmm. Okay, you get that? I work from can to can't. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying, and I don't think that's a good thing, and so, and I understand that, I do know, and it is definitely something that I am working on. And, I'm always encouraging everybody around me, but I don't always do it myself, So mm-hmm. in giving advice to someone, I'm going to suggest, that you have to schedule. I mean, we live by a schedule. I mean, we have schedules now. We have it on our cell phones. We have it on our computer. Our schedules are digital. And then every now and again, I still bump into somebody who has a paper calendar, but that's real old school. But, we live by a calendar and a schedule. And so, I encourage people to schedule your personal life just like you schedule your professional life. So you have to put you on the calendar. You got to make time for you. You got to make time for your family. So you have to put you on the calendar, because if you don't, you'll fall into that trap that I fall into, is working from can to can't, and that's not a good thing. Mm-hmm. So I say that, and, and I used to wear it like a badge of honor until I realized that really that's not a smart way to work, so I don't suggest that to people. I suggest that you put you on the calendar, because balance is so important for your own mental health, your own physical well-being, and so especially as we get older, and I wish there were some things, if I could talk to my younger self, I would make sure that even once I stopped coaching track, that I didn't stop track, that I still worked mm-hmm. on my own physical health and well-being. Now, I'm a healthy person, but I definitely could do better with my own physical fitness and my own healthy eating. I mean, I definitely would change the way I ate in my younger days, but I can only focus on now. And so I really focus on living a healthier lifestyle, eating healthier, and still working on the exercise piece. So I hope my friend Tracy is not listening, because she's been really getting on me about the physical piece. But you have to put you on the calendar, and I think that's really how you work on your own personal home life and work balance, is to make sure that you put you on the calendar. Just like you put others on your calendar and you schedule meetings, then you have to make sure that you have blocked off time for your family and for yourself. That's really important.
Right. Right. I absolutely agree. And that's one of those things is especially as working moms and wives and, professionals, it is sometimes difficult to find that time. So I like that. Schedule time for yourself and don't feel bad about it.
That's exactly. Exactly. You got to block it all. You have to block it. Sometimes you just have to take a mental health day. When they unfortunately they give us sick leave and personal leave. And sometimes mental health that's sick leave. So you have to take a mental health day. Sometimes you have to do that.
You do. You have to refuel. I mean, because you can't
Absolutely.
operate off of an empty cup for a long period of time.
Absolutely.
So absolutely.
Mm-hmm. You have to refill that tank. It's like
right.
gas tank. You have to refill it.
Or you will be on the side of the road at some point.
Exactly. So it's just important. You have to take care of you.
Good. So
I think there's a reason why. I was just going to say one more thing. I was just telling my sister that remember, because I was fussing at her, and I was telling her, remember on the airplane they always tell you to put your mask on first in case of an emergency. And so we sometimes forget to do that, to put our mask on first, because you can't help others if you're not in good shape. You can't help others. You won't be any good to other people.
Right. I absolutely agree. Absolutely. So, Dr. Handy, talk to us about some of your biggest challenges that you face as an educator, especially those early on as a special education teacher and then your transition to administration. We hear, we definitely need our village as it comes to education, and we know that teachers need assistance from us as parents and mentors and coaches and all of that. So talk about some of those challenges that you face as a teacher and then from the administration side.
So, we hear a lot about what's happening in education today, and these kinds of things didn't just start. Teachers are hardworking. It is one of the most honorable professions, and teachers work really, really hard. You won't know a teacher who doesn't take work home, who doesn't take her kids home with her, not literally, but in their mind. Teachers are always planning and thinking about how they can make a lesson better, or they're thinking about the next lesson. So teaching is not something that stops, when they get off for the school day. They bring papers home. They're grading at home on the weekends, and teachers are always, working on their lesson plans. They're always gathering materials. Elementary teachers are always asking you, do you have these? If you have some of these things, I'll collect them because they want to take them and do something with their kids at school. So teachers work really hard, and they're always being challenged to do more with less. Always having to do more with less. So, they're having to, they don't have as many resources. Across the nation, it is not equitable as far as resources that are available to teachers. And so, teachers have to do more with less. And then, a big challenge is there is a big shift. There's a shift in our world. The world is ever changing. So teaching has to change. So, we can't teach kids the way we used to teach kids because the world has changed, and how kids engage and interact and how kids learn has changed. Technology has been a big part of that, because if you don't engage those kids in the classroom and they're used to doing hands-on, they're used to action, with these video games and things like that. So teaching has changed significantly. And so I think, a big challenge has been that we have not truly put the money, we haven't invested in our teachers the way that we should, as far as putting money towards professional development, putting money towards resources, and making sure that teachers have everything that they need so that teachers aren't having to go out and buy things out of their own pocket for their classroom. So, I think the biggest challenge is really that, teaching has changed, and in order for us to keep up with how the world is changing, we have to invest more in our teachers. We have to invest in our administrators, because the way you lead schools today is not the way you led schools yesterday. And so we definitely have to continue invest in education. So I won't get started on politics, but it's all over the news that there's cuts to education budgets from our current president. There's going to be some significant cuts, and I don't know how we can make our space better, our U.S. better, when we are cutting what is the foundation for the USA, and that is education, because that is definitely our most valuable resource, and so that's a challenge. But challenges that I have faced, is just trying to, as a school leader, it is so important that we get our parents engaged. Parents are our partners on the journey in education, and so that has always been a challenge. Now, I have been blessed over the years to work with some amazing parents, and so you're always going to have a group of parents who do a lot of things for your school, but we need more parents. We need, we have a lot of parents who are not represented, and we need them. So getting our parents to volunteer and be involved in the school, has definitely been a challenge. We have some great parents who do it, but we need more parents to do it. I think, student voice, is important. Always really trying to think about how can I get students more engaged. And once again, I'm always trying to figure out how to engage the unengaged. We have too many kids who go to school and go home. And then they go home, and, we say too much time, an idle mind can lead to a troubled mind. So, we want to get our kids more engaged in school and school activities. And, once again, we also need more resources in order to do that. And we need more resources in our communities. We need more community centers. All neighborhoods are not created equal. You'll see a lot of resources in some places, and then you go to other places where, they have limited resources. And so I just think that's important. The challenges that we face is that how do we ensure that all kids have access to opportunities? A lot of learning happens outside of school, and so all communities aren't created equal. So I think across the U.S., we need to make sure that our kids are having equal access to, after school opportunities and are able to be engaged in activities. I really believe in raising student voice and participation, and we have a program called RSVP that stands for that, raising student voice and participation. I could go on and on about the challenges in education. I mean, certainly graduation rates, attendance, those are things that we are faced with every day, and I don't think there's a magic solution, but it's something that school leaders and teachers that are faced with those challenges, and it's something that we're working on. And, our students are more than a test score, so we focus a lot on test scores in our schools today, but our students are much more than a test score.
Absolutely.
I'm just going to leave it right there. I'm going to leave that right there. That would be a lot longer conversation than we have time for.
Absolutely. So if there were, just a few things you would ask from the community in regards to volunteering or assisting in those efforts to help close the gaps, what would the call to action be for us that may have resources that are able to help? What would you suggest?
Well, I think we must have more after-school activities that engage our students in being collaborative, allowing kids to work together, allowing kids to problem solve and use their critical thinking skills. I think we have to have more opportunities for our kids to be engaged after school, because we have too many kids who actually go home and now they're engaged with the TV, the video games, or hanging out in the streets. And, we have students who are engaged, and, you have your athletes and you have your kids who participate in clubs. If that's hitting 50%, we're doing good, but what about the others? So I think our communities have to set up more opportunities. So there needs to be more grant opportunities so people can, write grants and get our kids more engaged in after-school activities. And then the summer the summer is such a critical time. And so not just thinking about high school students, a lot of high school students are able to go and get jobs, but then there are not enough jobs for them all. And so how do we get them some more experiences in the summertime and keep them engaged? And then our elementary and our middle school students, how do we keep them engaged in the summertime in meaningful activities so that learning is not lost? Because those 10 weeks in the summertime, kids lose a lot of their learning because they are just sitting at home in front of TVs, sleeping late. And so we need to get our kids engaged and have more summer enrichment opportunities for our students.
Excellent. I'm happy you mentioned that, and I wrote down some of those ideals because, being a community volunteer, there's always programs, but there's not always programs after school. So I think that is a valid point and great point that you mentioned, especially as a lot of the groups are trying to come up with programs for our youth. So thank you. I have that noted.
Don't forget the summer. That's right.
And the summer. The summer.
Those 10 weeks are critical. So many of our kids, there are some families who plan vacations and, so their kids are exposed to different things in the summertime, but I was a child who grew up in poverty and we didn't do family vacations. What's that? And so having an opportunity for, if somebody's going to we have kids, I live in the Washington, D.C. area. I live in Maryland. And we have kids who live right here in Maryland who have never been to all of the museums in D.C., or haven't even been to D.C., and we're like 45 minutes away. And so somebody should be planning field trips for kids in the summertime that are free, but there has to be some resources for that, right? Somebody has to pay for the buses. Somebody, has to pay for lunch. But we're right here next to D.C., and there are kids who have not been to D.C., have not had an opportunity to visit the rich museums that are there. And so how do we have those kind of opportunities available to kids? We need equal access. So everybody's not going to get to go on a family vacation, but there should be more enrichment activities in the summertime for our students.
Absolutely. If we all got together and put our resources together, imagine how much more impactful we could be.
Absolutely.
So absolutely. So, Dr. Handy, you're currently serving as the president of the National Association of Secondary School Principals, which is definitely no small feat, considering you are the first African-American woman to serve in this role. So congratulations to you. And this is in how many years?
103 years.
So in 103-year history, you're the first African-American woman to serve in that role. Now, that's an accomplishment. So awesome. Thank you. And awesome.
And only the seventh woman.
Oh, my goodness. Wow. We still have work to do. So thank you for representing us and doing an awesome job all over the globe, representing us in the spirit of education and working with all of our educators across the globe. So what have you learned and accomplished from being in this position of leadership?
The first thing I learned, because I do a lot of traveling, is I learned the art of packing lighter. I finally learned, to pack a little bit lighter, and that, sometimes you can wear those black pants 2 times, So, at first I had to take a outfit for every day, and, 5 jackets, 5 pants, and 5 suits, and 5 different pairs of pumps, and I had to learn a little bit about the art of packing lighter. So that's my funny. But one of the things, and having the opportunity to really visit schools across the nation, and one of the things that I developed with some of the staff at the NASSP was what we call an urban initiative. And really what I wanted to learn was more about the life of urban school principals. And so I've had an opportunity to visit urban schools across the nation, and still have quite a few more to go before the end of my term. And I've learned that, educators all over are dealing with similar issues. No matter what their demographics, no matter what their zip code, educators are dealing with so many of the same issues, And so, when we look at, I met folks, when I'd ask them, what keeps you up at night? It's things like mental health. We're seeing more mental health issues in our schools today. Safety and security, certainly with things that have been happening in our schools, that is at the top of the list, that school leaders are making sure and doing their best to keep their schools safe and secure. Achievement gaps, they look different in different places, but everyone is trying to close the achievement gap. Attendance, attendance is a concern all over. Parent engagement, increasing our test scores. Principals are dealing with the same kinds of things, and some areas might are dealing with one more so than the other. Discipline is a concern, and that really ties right back into how do we keep our schools safe and secure, and then dealing with the pitfalls, some of the pitfalls of social media and its impact on our schools. Because our students are engrossed in social media, and, sometimes social media can be good and sometimes not so good. So it, leads to a lot of bullying as it relates to how kids use social media to be a bully. So these kinds of issues are things that school leaders are dealing with across the nation. And so it really has been insightful to really learn about what our principals are dealing with today and what really keeps them up at night. And so I have really enjoyed being able to meet with school leaders across the nation and the supervisors of school leaders, and really to just find out more, really seeking to find ways in which our organization can support our principals, as we are committed to having great leaders in every school, committed to the success of each student.
Wow.
I've also had an opportunity to work with a board of directors, and that has been an amazing experience, once again, being the leader, being the chairman of the board, and really working with a board on governance and leading a board through that process. So it has been a learning experience for me, and, as I had told you before, I'm always, looking for opportunities to grow and learn. And so this experience serving as the president of the National Association of School Principals has definitely been an opportunity for me to grow and learn in my profession and learn from my colleagues. And I've also engaged with some amazing students. I've been to some student conferences. I've had an opportunity to present a $25,000 scholarship to a National Honor Society student who was our top winner for a scholarship. And so I've had an opportunity to present some awards and recognize the National Principal of the Year. So it has definitely been a rewarding experience as well as an opportunity to learn and grow. And I'm so thankful for it.
Wow. It sounds like a great culmination, at least of this first half of your career. So that's awesome. Very awesome. So in addition to all of your amazingness, not even a word, but all of your amazing things that you have done over your 30 years in education, you are a proud, successful entrepreneur living by the motto, which I love. I'm a wealth warrior creating my own Social Security, which I also love, because by the time I get to that point, who knows where Social Security will be, if there will be.
That's why I'm trying to help our millennials. I'm trying to help the millennials.
Listen. I listen. So, listen more, talk less.
Right.
So tell the listeners a little more about what that means and some of your entrepreneurial endeavors.
So this whole motto of I am a wealth warrior, creating my own Social Security, really, when I started, as you get a little older, Social Security starts sending you these little letters to tell you when you get this age, this is how much you're going to get. So actually they tell you when you can start drawing your Social Security. So, years ago, you used to could start drawing your Social Security around age 62. Well, now they have moved that back to age 70. So I cannot draw Social Security till I'm 70 years old. And I have seen too many of my friends and colleagues who now cannot retire until they're like 70 years old because, my voice went up when I said that, they cannot retire until they're 70 years old. Because
that's their passion.
They have to wait until they can also get their Social Security because their retirement is not enough to live the life that they live because, when you retire, you actually get less. It's very rare for people to retire with 100%. The company does not give you 100% of what you make right now. That's not what you're going to get in retirement. And, people really don't pay attention to it enough. What are they going to get when they retire? Or they haven't put aside enough money for whatever reasons. They haven't added enough into their own 401k. So too many people are now having to work until they're 70 years old, until they can get that additional money with their Social Security, and then they can retire. And I just said, no, not me. I need to be ready. I need to be ready at least by 62. That's a long time, And so I just started saying, you know what, I got to create my own Social Security. I've always had some type of home-based business ever since I was a young girl. I mean, I used to be a newspaper girl. I sold cards door-to-door back in the day, flower seeds. My mother, to reward me for things I would do in the house, my mother would let me look through catalogs and find things that I could sell, and that was my reward. She would let me order them. And then I would go door to door and I would sell stuff, or I would take orders and then, so I've been doing it ever since I was a young girl. And so as an adult, I've always had some type of home-based business. One, because I don't know if people really understand that you get some amazing tax write-offs by having some type of business. Ask business owners, So the tax write-offs are amazing. And so that's important to me to be able to have that. But multiple streams of income is just something that I've always had a need for because I like to travel, and so I say that my home-based businesses, I say teaching and my education jobs pay the bills, and then my businesses, that's my fun money. So that's my beach money because I like to go to beaches and I like to go on cruises. So, I have to have multiple streams of income so that I can do the things that I want to do, travel, and not have to say that I can't do these things because of money. So that's my why. My why, and I always believe that anything you do, you have to know what is your why, and your why is what drives you. And so my why is that, one, I don't want to have to wait to retire until I can get Social Security. I'm making my own Social Security. And so whenever Social Security comes, that's just icing on the cake, and that can take me on a couple more trips. And then, so then you have your why. Why do you need this extra money? Because I like to travel, I want to have extra money. I want to be able to do things. And then, everybody wants to be debt-free, so I'm working on that as well. And then the how, then you have to think about, okay, so you have a big why. What is going to be your how? So my how has always been a home-based business, and I definitely believe in multiple streams of income. And so I have a couple of businesses. One is an online wellness shopping club, and I basically just show people how to switch stores. Instead of buying the things that you typically buy at Walmart, I show them how they can switch stores to healthier products that don't sit on the shelves, they don't have toxic chemicals. So for all of your household products, all your wellness and health products that you purchase, your healthy snacks and protein shakes and all that good stuff, switch stores to a company that shares the wealth with you. Because the last time I checked, Walmart does not send me a check. They never have sent me a check. And so I joined forces with a company that I just switched stores to this company, and they send me a check. And especially when I share it with people and I tell people about it, then they let me participate in revenue sharing. So, and then I also have, everybody calls me the card lady, because Send Out Cards is definitely a company that I've been with for a long time. And that is basically focusing on relationship marketing and spreading kindness, and I call it creating mailbox happiness, because we do everything online today, and so you can actually send real cards in the mail right from an app on your phone. I mean, right from an app on your phone, you can pick a card, type a message in it, or speak a message if you like to use your microphone on your phone. And when you press send, the card goes in the mail. So you never have to forget anybody's birthday, or if, someone has a death in the family, if somebody is sick, you can send get well cards. You can do those things right from an app on your phone. And if you have a lot of people in your family that send birthdays and friends, you can put their birthday and it sends you a reminder. So you never have to forget people's birthdays again. And I like doing that. I like sending cards. I have tons of Facebook friends who I've never met, but they get cards from me, and it just makes their day. So I like creating mailbox happiness. And then, I'm a coach, a consultant, a speaker, an author, a certified John Maxwell trainer. So I speak, coach, and facilitate the leadership game. I do youth retreats. I speak at women's events. I just love what I do. I stay busy, but I really love it. So I always say, sometimes if I just had to focus on closing the achievement gap, it might drive me crazy. So, my businesses are what I do for fun. And so people always ask me, how do you do all these things? Well, my home-based businesses are really what I do for fun. So people have different things that they do for fun. Well, making money is fun for me. Helping people really, but making money along the way. But, I love helping people, and I get to help others to do the same thing. So, I have a team, and I get to help others to realize, once again, their goals, dreams, and aspirations, so people have financial goals. People are trying to get out of debt. People need extra money. $500 helps, pays a bill in the household, and so I get to do that through these businesses. So I get to help people in another way besides just education. I get to help them with their finances and to realize their goals, dreams, and aspirations. So I'm just doing the same thing, but just in a different area.
Awesome. That is awesome. And I know you are a published best-selling author. I have the pleasure of co-authoring Dear Fear with you. And so tell us about that experience. And I know you're working on some other projects that are releasing soon as well.
So Dear Fear was an amazing opportunity for me to work with 18 other authors and sharing powerful lessons for living your best life on the other side of fear. And I actually wrote about, I came out and wrote about an experience of when I went to college. Because sometimes people see you today and they really don't know your story. And actually I just found out that, everybody has a story. And, so I shared my story of when I went to college, and when I showed up in college at the dorm, all I had was a trunk, because I had actually been homeless prior to going to school. And so that's a story within itself. But when I showed up to college, all I had was a trunk. Everything I owned was in that trunk, and my comforter was in the trunk. So that tells you how much room was left in there for clothes and other things. And when I showed up to that dormitory, there were some fraternity boys that were helping people to carry their things inside, unloading their cars. And a lady who was a mentor to me, she dropped me off at school, and she dropped me off and she said, "Good luck," and gave me a hug. And the college boys were looking like, "Okay, we're here to help you with your stuff." And I pointed and they looked at that trunk like, "That's all you got?" And I really didn't even know what I didn't know, because I was first generation college in my family. So, and I was really by myself. so that's all I had. And these guys looked at me like, well, okay. And they took me on upstairs. And, you know, when I reflected upon that, you know, there was, you know, I just really struggled, you know, but to God be the glory. I made it. I graduated from college. And so I just wanted to, I shared that story with people, a little bit more about college, some other things that happened during that time. And I really had to talk to myself a lot because I was thinking, like, you don't even, you know, in my mind, I saw all the other people with all their stuff, and they had their parents helping them to set up their rooms, and here I was with my one little trunk by myself, setting up my little space, and you know, and these thoughts were running through my mind like, you don't belong here. Look at you, you don't even have stuff. But I had to talk to myself and say, that's okay. You're here. You're going to be okay. You don't need stuff. You got your brain. You got some financial aid. You're going to be all right. You know, so all along and through college, I had to talk to myself. And so I really learned the art that talking to yourself is not really crazy, that, you know, it helps you. You know, it helped me a lot to talk positive to myself, and I had to do that. And that's what got me through, really, you know, changing negative thoughts into positive thoughts.
Awesome, awesome. You provided so much information and such a wealth of knowledge. How can our listeners stay connected with you and support you in your efforts?
So certainly if anybody wants to reach out to me, you know, if you're interested, if you want to know more about, you know, if I can help you with anything with education, if I can help you, if you want to make a financial, if you're interested in a home-based business and you want to find out more about what I'm doing, certainly you can reach out to me on Facebook. My name is Christine Handy on Facebook. There are a couple of other Christine Handys, but I think you'll be able to figure out by my bio which one I am. So Christine Handy on Facebook. You can email me at Christine, Christine, at aboveonly.ws, ABOVE, above only, ONLY.WS. So that's how you can email me. And then if you want to send me a text message, my number is 410-310-3849. So you might want to text me first because I probably won't answer if I don't know who the number is from. So you can send me a text message and tell me that you heard me on this radio show. And my number is 410-310-3849. I love helping people. That's what I do. I'm passionate about it. And certainly, you know, I give back. And so if I can help someone, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. And Tawana, I just want to thank you. It has been a joy and honor and pleasure speaking to you today and speaking to your radio audience. I thank you so much for having me. What an amazing opportunity just to be here with you today and sharing some of the things that I have done throughout my leadership journey. So thank you so much for having me. I know we could have talked for a lot longer, but, you know, our time is up, so I appreciate you.
My pleasure. I appreciate you, and I can't let you get off the phone without letting you know how much I appreciate you. If it wasn't for Dr. Christine Handy, I would have never found Dear Fear. If it wasn't for you sharing that opportunity with me and letting me know about that, and I didn't even know you. We shared the same sorority bond. We were both John Maxwell coaches, but I had never met you before. And that just speaks to when there's good people out there, they make sure that they lift as they climb and they bring somebody up with them. And if it wasn't for you, Dear Fear has changed my life and opened up a lot of doors. And so I appreciate you bringing me along on that journey with you. You're sharing send-out cards with me. I send my staff cards. I send all of my friends cards. Through all times, I'm intentional about doing that, and it's because you shared that with me. And so I want to let you know, thank you, thank you, thank you. I definitely appreciate it because you didn't have to. You could have held all of that in, but you didn't, and I appreciate it.
But Tawana, I just have one more thing that I'd like to say to your listeners. I mean, if there was like one piece of wisdom that I could just leave them with today, it's like whatever you do, you have to make a commitment. So you have to have that commitment mindset. And I just want to say, think big, take bold action, and make an impact. So whatever you do, think big, take bold action, and make an impact. And always remember that in order to get what you want out of life, you have to help others to get what they want. And my hashtag that I use all the time is Leadership Matters. Thank you.
Awesome. Again, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule between flights and all of that good stuff to serve as my guest. Many blessings and much success to you on your journey. Thank you, listening audience. Thank you. Thank you, listening audience, for tuning in to tonight's show with our special guest, Dr. Christine Handy, where she shared many nuggets with us, some of which being take on a challenge, preparation, make sure you are prepared. Leadership is tough, so you definitely want to have stamina. What are your dreams, goals, and aspirations? Learn how to develop winners. To thy own self be true, so make sure you take time for yourself. Think big, make an impact, and those of us, we should help our educators so that we can help the engaged help the unengaged become engaged for our students and in the education sector. So if you're interested in being a guest on the show or being a radio show sponsor highlighting your businesses or events, please email DIBroadcasting@TrendyEliteLLC.com. Please tune in next week where you will get to hear from another amazing leader. And until then,
Thank you, friends, for tuning in to another episode of Leadership Tidbits with Coach T. Wilson, where Taiwana speaks with leaders who share nuggets of wisdom that you can use in your personal and professional life. Follow her on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Coach T. Wilson. Connect on LinkedIn or visit www.coachtwilson.com. And remember, in life, learn as much as you can, appreciate often, and lead fearlessly.